Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest installment of the Space City Sports Talk Podcast,
a Sound Trailer Sports Talk Podcast,
Astros edition. I am the host, Marco Alvarado, alongside the co-host,
Corben Carter-Dixon here. What's up, people? And guess what? Did you miss us?
Did y'all miss this duo?
Everybody thought that everything was dead for the moment, but guess what? Your boys are back. Your boys are back, the mics are back, and we're talking smack.
Bay. And this time we're coming better than ever with the first installment of the Houston Astros edition of the Space City Sports Talk Podcast.
With a quick little recap of what's happened already.
Now, in case y'all been living under a rock, the Astros unfortunately did not make the World Series. They lost every home game except for one, which was in the ALDS against the Minnesota Twins.
And then got bounced out, which felt like 2019 again against the powerless Rangers.
And you know what? It is what it is. We can only bounce back from this season and move on. And that's what the Astros did. They moved on. Dusty Baker is no longer the head honcho of the team, but instead,
and no longer giving us hell.
Well, hey, I mean,
it was better yet. I'll put it like this: it was a bittersweet end with the Dusty Baker era. And before we get on Dusty, let's be real here. The man helped cover up a controversial scandal in which it thought everybody, made us the villain. And guess what? Dusty did do us a favor by keeping all of that off of our back. And then most importantly, we got to 3 to 4 straight ALCS extra, and we actually got to 2 World Series out of it and actually won a second title, and his first title overall as a manager. Now, moving on, going forward, I actually said this a long time ago, in which I predicted. I said Joe Espada would be the new manager, and guess what? That time has come.
Yes. For the people that don't know already, Joe Espada is the new head honcho, the new manager for the Houston Astros, taking his place as first base coach Omar Lopez, which now he will be the bench coach. I like this move. Way to keep it in the house.
Like I said, when you hire from within, you already know what type of results are going to come. And plus, Joe Espada actually has really a good connection with these players, in which he's been with us since 2018.
I think longer. No,
he at first he was a long time with the Yankees as a coach over there.
That's
then
right. He was,
because he was under AJ Hinch for a while.
Yeah, he was under AJ Hinch, and he was under Dusty Baker, and now he's taking over the manager role for your local 9 here in Houston, Texas, at Minute Maid Park. Grand Minute Maid Park, as I should say. Man, that's a throwback, huh?
Yeah, that's for sure. Grand Minute Maid Park, which will remain Grand Minute Maid Park. Marco, how do you feel about this hire of Joe Espada as manager finally? Again,
it goes back to what I just said. Way to keep it in the house. Homegrown, has great experience under AJ Hinch and Dusty Baker, as we earlier mentioned. Listen, this guy has a lot of connections with the team. He's loved on the team, and his managerial experience came in clutch when Dusty Baker got ejected in Game 5. Those substitutions he made in that late game led to the Jose Altuve home run, which secured the Astros victory on the road in the postseason. So that gives you a glimpse of like what he could do, because that was the right call at the right time. And I feel like the Astros kind of lacked that this past season, making those right adjustments at the right time. I felt like they either did them too early or they did them too late, and it bit them in the butt.
And then the other thing is, haven't we seen a sample of Joe Espada not just taking over in that situation, but didn't he actually manage a game when AJ Hinch one time got suspended?
I believe so. Yes, he did. I believe that was a 2019 season.
And I believe it was after an argument call that AJ made with an umpire, and he got ejected. And then the next thing you know, I think Joe Espada actually took over for a game.
Yeah, because he was the bench coach.
And I believe we won that game, actually, if I can remember correctly, because that's the main thing that I can remember, is that he actually took over for one game.
And so that's whenever you were at Minute Maid, so you would remember better than I would. But I do remember him managing a game whenever AJ did get ejected around that time.
And I felt like that was cool, because I was like, that just showed a little small sample size of what Joe Espada could have done. And for people who forget, Joe Espada did once interview for the Cubs, actually.
Yeah, he did.
And then once after that, all the managerial spots kept on getting collected. And I was just like, if that's happening, he's destined to basically take over this team. And going forward, Marco, I hope that Joe Espada does extend that success in which we've already been doing. And guess what? Won't it be funny if we win another World Series with a third manager and with a third GM in Dana, we believe, within 10 years? That would be very, very surprising and shocking to the world, of thinking that we're dead for good, basically, but we're really not dead.
Yeah, and I could see that because Dana has the World Series experience. Again, he did win a championship with the Braves that the Astros lost to that season.
At our expense, yes, but that's all good in the hood. But go ahead.
Dana Brown looks like he's standing on business with this team, and so far he's done that, which we'll get into here momentarily. But to piggyback off of what you said, yes, the Astros did hire Joe Espada as their new manager. Here's your official coaching staff. Omar Lopez named the bench coach. Dave Clark is going to be hired as the first base coach. Jason Bell was previously the assistant. Director of Player Development named Quality Assurance Coach, replacing Dan Biova. The rest of the staff remains the same. If I botched any names, I do apologize. Respectfully.
Indeed.
Now, here's the thing. How do you feel about that? Coaching staff changed. The pitching staff is remained the same.
Gary Pettis didn't come back.
I think, yeah, he's still third base coach.
Yeah,
as he should.
Yes, because the main thing that I thought about is that one thing I heard from Joe Espada is that he actually did vouch very hard for Gary Pettis to not go anywhere else. And from what I heard on Twitter, which is now known as X, is that Gary Pettis did remain with the team. So I was just like, okay, we're definitely not making any full-time changes. We're actually keeping the core together.
And that's something you need, especially with a team like this. Free agency is in the mist right now.
Winter meetings.
And Martin Maldonado is officially not a Houston Astro because Yanier Diaz is going to be the number one guy behind the plate. And just last night, Victor Caratini did sign to a deal pending physical. So there's your backup catcher, Corb. How do you feel about the former Cub and Brewer?
And Padre.
That's true.
And St. Louis, actually.
That's true.
What I can see from Victor Caratini is versatility, and he can not only just play catcher, he can actually play some first base. He can also play some DH as well, which I've seen him do with the Padres. And plus, most importantly, he brings that veteranship mentorism to the team. And from one season, last season, he actually was a mentor to former Cubs little brother by William Contreras, who is the little brother of
Wilson Contreras
in St. Louis. He was also a mentor to Wilson. So with him behind Yanier Diaz, to be the mentor to him, I feel like Yanier Diaz is going to take another step in his growth. Unlike somebody who did not want to use him all last year, in which I thought cost him Rookie of the Year, and he could have actually broke the rookie home run record.
Yeah, consistent hitter.
Saying he's not so good against lefties, which I find that is total baloney sometimes.
And he chased down more people at the plate, trying to steal second.
Had very good numbers on stolen base percentage, way better than Martin Maldonado.
Listen,
with a broken arm.
Listen.
And an old body.
Okay, ease up on my catcher.
Hey, you throw him a whole chicken, maybe he'll do better.
Shut up. Okay, number one, I forever will have love for Martin Maldonado. That is my catcher. I've said it since day one, and I've said it since day one of this pod that he's been my catcher.
And trust me, guys, I may sound like a hypocrite, but at the same time, with all the mess that I give Martin Maldonado, even when he did good, I sometimes even wore my Los Astros Martin Maldonado jersey.
6 playoff appearances in 6 seasons, 3 World Series appearances, 1 championship, 2 no-hitters caught, 2 immaculate innings caught in the same game, and then caught Cy Young winner Verlander in 2022. Whether you love or hate the guy, you gotta give credit where credit's due.
He did his job.
As a vet, as he should. And, not to mention, he stood up for the Astros probably more than anybody.
I mean, to actually, stand up against the Rangers, cause some
Yankees as well.
And the Yankees as well. It's not like he was really trying to cause controversy, but when things got out of hand, he maintained the core in which we still prevailed and went on to win more games than people expected us to do.
You can't deny that he did immaculate things, no pun intended, for the Astros. Defensively and just as a vocal presence.
Most importantly as a vocal presence, because at first when I heard that he was the main person that was speaking in the locker room, I was like, that's very accurate, because we never heard too much of Altuve or Bregman actually, or sometimes Verlander didn't even they roll a certain way like by leading by example, and Martin Maldonado to be the so-called unsung hero, the vocal leader in the locker room, surprised me, in which allowed us to actually stay in control of everything that we were doing.
Maldi is drawing interest from the Red Sox, Padres, Marlins, and White Sox. Lord knows what that's going to look like in his future. I could see him going to the Marlins more than any of those teams because the White Sox don't have culture after everything that happened last season.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
The Red Sox don't stand they don't stand a chance. From what I could tell.
I wouldn't count out the Padres.
I wouldn't count out the Padres either.
Because I feel like with what that team lacks over there, I mean, although this is a Houston sports podcast.
Can I say that line real quick? This is a Houston sports podcast. Continue.
The fact that team did lack, I feel like they lack leadership over there. I feel like somebody like in Martin Maldonado's presence will actually make sense to keep that team intact, actually.
Keep them in check. That's what they really need.
Exactly.
They need somebody to keep them in check, and that's the guy. But thank you, Maldi, for literally everything you've done. Literally.
Indeed. Thank you, Maldi, for everything that you've done.
Now, as of this recording earlier today, the Astros have acquired right-handed reliever Dylan Coleman from the Kansas City Royals in exchange for minor league righty Carlos Mateo. Coleman made 68 major league appearances in 2022 and 23 last season. A cost-effective option for a team that needs bullpen help, per Chandler Rome of the Houston Chronicle. So relief help coming for the Astros, because I believe Phil Maton is a free agent this season or this offseason, and honestly, that was Dusty's go-to guy this whole season. He had more appearances than anybody in the pen.
As far as the sixth inning goes, yes.
I mean, still, the most appearances this season by any relief pitcher on the Astros was Phil Maton. Literally. Coleman had a 2.7 ERA in 68 relief outings for the Royals in 2022. He had an 8.84 ERA in 23 appearances for Kansas City in 2023 and spent the balance of the season at AAA. And he still has minor league options. So, again, maybe the pitching staff can probably work with him, get him up to speed.
That's what I was just about to say.
Because, I'm not really...
The real question is, what pitcher haven't we fixed?
That's true.
Outside of Montero getting all that contract money, all that money, and then after that, almost killing us during the whole season. But luckily, he had a second half turnaround, so I can't fault him for that one. But I mean, once again, I'll ask the question again: what pitcher haven't we fixed?
I'm not worried about it. And if you want to go into more rumors, Astros are interested in Jordan Hicks, right-handed pitcher, Houston native.
Yeah, who is a Houston kid, by the way, actually. I remember one time he was down here at one point, visiting, taking a visit. And I saw that on Instagram actually, and I was like, he would make a lot of sense actually. And for people who forget, Jordan Hicks actually was an original member of the St. Louis Cardinals for a while, and I remember he did have I believe an injury plague season. At one point he had Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
And then eventually he had to try to find his groove back, and then eventually they traded him to the Toronto Blue Jays last year, who actually got bounced out in the wild card game against the Twins.
In that series.
I feel like having Jordan Hicks will have a benefit, but it also, will come with a price. And I don't mean like by how much we give him. It's basically because we may have to trade somebody in order to keep us under the cap. But if we go over the cap, I won't mind. That just shows how dedicated that we are to like actually trying to revamp this bullpen.
Hicks is also drawing interest from the Rangers and the Angels. So some AL West rivals are interested in him as well. Time at this point would only tell to see what route happens.
You want to know I got 3 words for that?
What's your 3 words?
Go to hell.
Oh, wow.
No, I don't want to see him nowhere near the Rangers. I definitely don't want to see him nowhere near the Angels, actually.
That's pretty extreme.
Hey, I'm all for everybody for like getting acquired and stuff, but when it comes to my Houston Astros, it's like I get real biased basically because I feel like any pitcher could possibly, play for this team and I feel like Jordan Hicks not only being a Houston kid, but also being able to have the stuff to actually, mow down hitters can actually benefit this team going forward.
Another name that the Astros hired within their front office, They hired former Arizona Diamondbacks and Kansas City Royals scouting director Derek Landnier as their new senior director of amateur scouting. He oversaw drafts that produced Corbin Carroll, Alex Gordon, and Eric Hosmer. That's pretty solid, if you ask me.
Yeah, because wasn't he a part of Kansas City run to the World Series?
Yeah,
correct?
in 2015.
In 2015. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they ended up winning that World Series. They beat the Mets.
And surprisingly, they beat us in the ALDS.
Well, that should have been the Astros within that World Series slot.
That was a one Correa mistake away from getting to the World Series.
That's a name I haven't heard in a minute.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Hey, it is what it is, brother. It is what it is.
And then, by the way, going over Victor Caratini stacks, actually, he had 201 at bats with 52 hits, 23 runs. He only had 7 home runs with a batting average of 259 and OPB of 327, a slugging percentage of 383, and OPS of 711. 711.
That's pretty solid. As a backup catcher?
As a backup catcher and an OPS plus of 95.
And what team was this on again?
This was on Milwaukee.
The Brewers.
And
a struggling Brewers that barely made the playoffs.
Got bounced
in a weak NL Central.
Yeah, and got bounced out by my brother Corbin Carroll. Shout out to you, Corbin. But it's funny. It's funny because hush. It's funny. It's very funny because most importantly, this is the thing that we didn't mention. He's a switch hitter.
Yes, he is. He is a switch hitter.
He's a switch hitter. And so with the numbers that I had just elaborated, that can actually work.
Yeah.
That and for most people who thought he was going to, looking at the backup catchers, people thought we was going to get Trevor
Barnhart?
Yeah,
Barnhart.
Yeah, people thought we was going to get Trevor Barnhart, who also was another good option who was from a defensive standpoint. But I think Victor Caratini actually outdoes that because of his versatility.
Oh, for sure. I think the switch hitting probably sold Dana Brown on that one.
No, it's not only that. He can actually also play first base, in which I feel like if any day it's like we don't always have to see him possibly catching. He can possibly play in first base to give Jose Abreu a day off, basically.
How are your thoughts on Jose Abreu's first season as a Houston Astro?
I said this in my Twitter groups. I'm never gonna get over saying X. It feels weird, but I always used to saying Twitter.
Moving on.
I'm always used to say. I had these debates with people, and I was saying, look, don't be surprised that Jose Abreu gets off to a slow start, because he always gets off to a slow start, and he always starts heating up in the end of the season. And from what I saw, is exactly what I predicted. And guess what? He actually turned up in the end, and the way that he was on a monster run in the playoffs, I just felt like, we can squeeze out the last bit of baseball out of him before his career ends, actually.
You know what he did? Even whenever he was in a slow start, you know what he actually did? He was one of the most producible hitters. Like, getting on base, producing hits, moving runners up.
And it's not even about the home runs with me.
No, that's what I'm saying. He put the ball in play. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. He put the ball in play. He made contact.
He's a RBI guy for a reason.
Yeah, when Michael Brantley was out.
Yeah.
Because Michael Brantley produces a lot, which is also another free agent in this free agency currently.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Toronto Blue Jays make a second run in at him.
Wow. Anyways, oh yeah, I remember that. That's crazy. He almost signed, but then he went back.
But that was like a glitch situation, and
that's right. That was a false deal. Yeah.
And I believe I was at work when that happened. Actually, was this during? I believe that was during either before 2021 or that was like after the COVID season. Yeah,
it was somewhere around there. Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, dude, yeah. I liked Abreu. I'll tell you one thing: he produced more than Yuli, bat numbers wise, everything. He did. He had more home runs, better average, the whole 9 yards. He did better than Yuli. Nothing against Yuli, but I mean, it just goes to show that, hey, Bagwell did his thing.
At the same time, we're so lucky that Bagwell took a risk on that, because I thought if that did not work, people would have really been bashing the Astros for the fact that why'd you let Bagwell run the show for the moment. The only thing that I only give him and Crane crap for is really the massive contract that of desperation money that I call that they gave to Montero just to not let him walk. And I'm thinking to myself, I said, that's a little steep.
Now listen, I feel like not to make excuses here, but I feel like the shortened offseason that they had with the World Series run, all that glamour, all that fame, it kind of got to their head a little bit, defending World Series champs.
And knowing the fact that we were possibly going to be losing people.
And the World Baseball Classic played a factor in this as well.
Oh yeah, Jose Altuve, getting hit in the wrist. No way, getting hit in the hand actually, and being out for those months. And
he didn't come back until like June.
Yeah, and in typical Altuve fashion, we always see what he does every single time he plays, like he never left, basically.
Yeah.
And the team also, plays into that, use that as their own strength when he's out of the lineup. And plus, it's just, Jose Altuve is just another animal. That's all I got to say. I mean, that man's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't care. I don't give a damn about the scandal, whatsoever, because other teams were doing it. But he didn't have no benefit towards that. He just remained Altuve for who he was, and look at him now.
Yes, sir. Now, this is coming from Dana Brown from Winter Meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Astros are not trading Bregman. They are not trading him. Alex Bregman is not going to be traded according to Dana Brown. Forrest Whitley will compete for a bullpen role this spring, and the focus remains for pitching and catcher, which has already been fulfilled on the half side, I guess I would say. Per Dana Brown, he's not interested in overpaying in relief market.
I feel like we're not going after Josh Hader, which when I heard that quote.
I wouldn't mind having a solidified closer.
Yes.
Fight me on this, y'all. Ryan Presley's not a closer. And I've said that since day one. Since 2021. No, even before that. Even before SCST was even made. I told you that I did not agree with Ryan Presley being the closer. When Osuna went down, I said, okay, next man up for this season. Cool, we'll get a closer. In 2020, after 2020, nope. You knew who I wanted as a closer. And he almost came to the Astros. Dusty Baker wanted him.
Why on earth would we want an anti-Astro?
He's not an anti-Astro. He's cool with everybody now.
Oh, God. Marco, we really going to...
There's video evidence.
Episode back and we're going to talk about Aroldis Chapman.
I want him in as a... dude, God. You're telling me you don't want him as a closer?
I wouldn't mind, but come on. Why would we want an anti-Astro?
He's not an anti-Astro.
I don't give a damn.
Listen, whenever you tame a beast, there's an old saying that a wise man once said. And that saying is, if you can't beat them, join them. I'm all in on that. I still want to roll this Chapman as an Astro.
Oh, God, you are delusional, just like everybody else that would say that. But
there's only one team that...
I mean, come on. You can't deny the fact that of what Ryan Presley has done over the last few years.
He allows so many hits.
But guess what? He still, even when he allowed hits in a close game, he sometimes still got the job done.
Nope.
I mean, the man made all MLB second team 2022. The man helped with a combined no-hitter in the World Series.
Barely.
We kept the Phillies at bay, bro.
Doesn't matter. It does not matter.
And I believe he's 13-0 when trying to get a save in the postseason. What more do you want?
I want somebody that's gonna get 3 outs and not give up hits.
He got 3 outs, Marco.
Nope. Not consistently.
But when the postseason came, it mattered most.
And where did that get us?
You know that.
Where did that get the Astros?
To another World Series.
In 2022, I'm talking about this past season. The past is in the past. We have to talk about the most relevant stuff at the moment. This season,
you can talk about that all you want, but guess what? Let's be real here. The offense shut down at home. You know that.
Okay, that's not my problem.
And then plus our starting pitchers, Farmer couldn't keep try to stay mental from being mental complacent. Come on.
I'm still letting you know this. Ryan Presley's not a closer.
Oh, Jesus.
He did the same stuff with Team USA in the WBC. You can't even deny that.
And was killing it.
I don't know about all that. Mexico beat them. I like that. I really do. I don't like Team USA. I really don't.
You are so evil.
Mexico and Puerto Rico. Listen, I know I'm going to get some people out there that's going to give me crap, but hey, I have the right to. I'm Mexican and Puerto Rican. So I can go either way. Now, listen. When Mexico and Puerto Rico played, that was a whole different ball game. I was literally on the edge of my seat. All I know is I was moving on to the next round either way. Sorry, baby. Do apologize. Respectfully. And look at you. I wish y'all could see this man's face right now because he knows I'm right. He knows I'm right.
I also know that you're also wrong in this situation.
Back to what I was saying. How many blown saves did he have this season? How many blown saves? I could tell you one that sticks out like a sore thumb.
Baltimore game.
That one and
against Mullins.
And against the Pirates. The Pirates.
Remember the one against Detroit?
And now they're just stacking up, are they?
That's 3 games, Marco.
And then there was more.
That's like
there's more that's
games.
not coming to the Dome, but I guarantee you. There's more.
Oh, one against the Twins when Lewis took him home, took him out.
And I said Ryan Presley's not a closer.
But
I even poked fun at everybody. I was like, "That's y'all's closer."
Yeah.
Listen, I respect the man. He won a World Series. Cool. As that role,
he even made All-Star teams. And he still holds the record, I believe, for most appearances without giving up a run at 44.
But when was that? I'm talking about this past season.
40, my bad.
I'm talking about this past season.
But still, let's not act like the man hasn't produced.
Since 2020 and being in the
closer role.
I mean, hey, he's still not a closer in my eyes. I'm sorry. He's a good setup, man. I'd rather have him in setup. You're telling me if the Astros don't get a solidified closer, that's a solid I'm talking about solid from the rubber. And Ryan Presley comes in as relief. Mind you, Jose Abreu, who is in the relief, you can even have him in earlier innings or he can go even deeper in the games. You're telling me that wouldn't work out?
Hold on. What you just said? You said Jose Abreu. You mean why go get another reliever and you got Brian Abreu right there?
Yeah, my fault. I don't know why I said Jose Abreu. But yes, Brian Abreu.
Who I felt like should be sometimes Brian Abreu did make me have a heart attack sometimes, on every once in a while, depending on.
And Ryan Presley didn't?
Wait a second. All I'm saying is that I'm not saying that Brian Abreu rightfully, should be, the closer in the future whatsoever. And I've said that before, and you've heard me say it only because I said that Ryan Presley is not a spring chicken anymore. So I said, eventually it's going to be coming to a time.
Corb, at one point you agreed with me with that Ryan Presley shouldn't be the closer. You even agreed with me in
that one time only.
In Space City Sports Cycle. Was it 2022 or 21?
It was 21. And then most importantly, I just kept looking at, the production of which he did, and I'm like, he did give us heart attacks. That's true.
He gives up too many hits as a closer. I'm sorry. He really does.
But guess what? All closers gave up hits.
Not as much as he does consistently. There were games where he was giving up back-to-back hits and like back-to-back games that he would come or in back-to-back appearances, I should say. I respect him, like him as a ball player, hell of a pitcher. I just don't like him in the closing role. I'm sorry, I really don't. I don't. You're telling me you wouldn't want Josh Hader as an Astro as a closer?
Oh, I would love Josh Hader. Would love Josh Hader in our bullpen to be the closer, or
Aroldis.
Yeah,
you're a hater.
No, I am not no hater whatsoever.
You cannot lie.
It's just that 2019 game. I can't get over. that.
Okay, and that's against a team that he's gonna be a part of.
I can't even get over 2016 for God's sake when he almost lost the World Series.
That wasn't his fault.
Oh my Lord!
He came in too early.
Here we go.
Joe Madden put him in too early.
Yeah, and Joe Madden got off the hook
because
he maintained composure.
But
anyways, for people who forget where Josh Hader, Josh Hader was actually once in our system, by the way, who was a part of the giant Carlos Gomez trade.
Yeah, how did that end up?
We still had a successful season that year. We didn't get as far as we want to, but I'll just say it was a mid-season.
It was
a mid-season.
It was.
But if I could see Josh Hader actually back here in Houston, which would really be impossible.
I think it's very possible.
Yeah, but the only way that you do that is either if you want to get rid of some cap space by trading away Ryan Presley.
Mm-hmm. I'm not opposed.
I'm not saying they are trading Ryan Presley. I'm just saying from a perspective,
like a hypothetical situation.
In a hypothetical situation, and really just break out that check. That's all. Break out that checkbook. And get
hot take. I say start over with the bullpen. Start over.
Start over. Okay, so basically, if we had to see this actually happen, You still have. What's funny is that I'm surprised that Hector Neris has not been getting no. I haven't heard no late news.
You see, that's a former closer.
Yeah, he's a former closer
for Philadelphia.
Yeah, for Philly. Yeah, and it was that one season, and all of a sudden, kind of had a little, fallback. But at the same time,
he did decent this past season.
No, actually, I thought he did great.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he did.
I can't say decent because I felt like Hector Neris really let us off the hook in several situations.
Like in the role that he had to play.
He had to play, basically.
Yes.
And I was like saying to myself, "Oh God, please do."
I'd say bring him back.
I do.
Brian Abreu needs to still be in here.
Yes, but now it's just to determine what role does
when
Brian
Luis
Abreu
Garcia
play
comes
next.
back from his Tommy John surgery. Put Javier back in the pen. Relief.
That's a hot take, Marco.
Relief.
Wait, why you want Javier back in the bullpen?
I mean, you could switch role. Listen, hear me out. You can. Okay, who would you rather have, Urquidy or Javier starting and come in relief? Who would you put first? Because there has to be a bullpen game sometime.
Yeah, there's gonna have to be a bullpen, and one of those one of those relief pitches really have to be stretched out.
You see my point?
I mean, Urquidy or Javier can be stretched out, but I'd much rather go with Javier as the clear-cut option. But at the same time, I want to see Christian Javier bounce back this year as a starter because I felt like the pitch clock had a little bit to do with that.
Yeah, I felt like the pitch clock messed up a lot of things, not only for the Astros, but just for
baseball in general.
MLB at least.
And because I feel like there needs to be some tweaks on that, and I felt like Adam Wainwright actually said that during the postseason. He felt like that all pitchers, once they get done with each pitcher that they face, they should actually have a so-called 20 seconds to move around and then after that get back on the mound. So I felt like the pitch clock situation did have a thing on Javier in which it affected him because usually we always see Fromber and Javi move around the base for a little bit, but obviously they're trying to
Luis Garcia was also a victim of the pitch clock as well.
Yeah, because he couldn't go through his normal routine of his
his little movement
of the rock the baby.
Yeah. Look, a lot of things
but
can
it was
happen
still
here.
but he was still it was
before he went down.
Before he went down, yeah.
Before he went down. Opening day is against the New York Yankees here at Minute Maid. God only knows how that's going to go. Listen, I'm not afraid of the Yankees. They really can't tell us nothing.
I got no worries with the Yankees because every time I hear Brian Cashman start talking, I'm just thinking to myself like, oh Lord, you are so comatose and delusional. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. You must have forgot how many ass whippings we handed you.
Corb, this is a PG pod.
I don't care. I'm gonna say what I gotta say for this episode only.
Okay.
You got so delusional over the fact that we have bounced you out not only once, not twice, 3 different times in the ALCS, and you still couldn't get the job done with all that talent that you had. Regardless, y'all supposed to have taken us out, but guess what? You woke up the sleeping giant,
which is the Houston Astros.
Oh, and let's not forget, we also bounced out all the old Yankees in 2015 in the wild card. So I don't even want to hear nothing about the Yankees and the Astros.
Man, I miss recording Space City Sports Talk. I really do. We used to have these conversations a lot, and people would chime in on this. And a lot of people at Minute Maid would agree with some of the stuff we said, and then there was the occasional people on social media that didn't agree. But hey, it's all love on this end. You already know how we coming. We're coming back better than ever. We really are. But Corb, this is just only episode 1 of the Space City Sports Talk Astros edition, with more to come as this season, or should I say off season, progresses. Spring training is right around the corner, brother. We're in December.
All I can say is that going forward, let's go ahead and see where this new experiment takes us, and most importantly, I know that Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve do kind of come off the books after this season, and I'm not saying that this is the end, but like a good old Sting would say, nothing's for sure.
Nothing is for sure. Again, keep it locked in here for Space City Sports Talk Astros for all your Astros coverage. Again, more to come as this offseason progresses, and when the season ramps up, you already know we finna produce like how we used to. Space City Sports Talk is back. This is the Space City Sports Talk Astros edition of this podcast. I'm Marco Alvarado.
I'm Corbin.
And we'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
Deuces.